the fifth kind. Check out our official website at fifthkind.tv. A variety of pictures and carvings have been found all around the world, depicting what appear to be advanced flying and spacebound craft. One of the most interesting of these is the sarcophagus of King Pakal in Palenque, Mexico. Kinich Janab Pakal was one of the longest ruling kings in history, reigning from 603 to 683 of the Common Era. He was the Mayan king of Palenque in the modern-day state of Chiapas, Mexico. The lid of his sarcophagus is over 6 feet in width by 10 feet in length. It weighs several tons and depicts what appears to be a man within some type of rocket or flying capsule. Erich von Daniken suggests that this could be a diagram of a space capsule, similar to a small space shuttle and similar to the flying craft we find mentioned in many of the world's ancient texts.
Palenque is a city of the Maya in Central America, in Mexico. There is a temple called the Temple of Inscription. In 1952, the Mexican archaeologist, Professor Dr. Rutzliger, discovered under this pyramid a secret groove. By the way, 7 meters under the pyramid. The tomb was covered with a stone, a large stone, 2.80 meters long. And on the stone, you see something like a frame. And in the center of the frame, there's a human being sitting, bending forward, almost like a motorizing cyclist. When you look at it with modern eyes, he has some mask on his nose. He definitely uses his 2 hands to manipulate control. You see the upper hand, you see the fingers, he's manipulating a knob. From the other hand, you still see the 4 fingers of the back of his hand. He's sitting on a chair, and outside of the frame, you see something like a linking flame. Now in archaeology, they explain it very reasonable. They say this represents Pakal. Correct. Pakal was the second last ruler of the city of Palenque. But why in this position? Somebody in the deep past has seen some of the so-called teacher, the so-called God, in a vehicle. We have sent Saturn V in direction to the moon, but only the top of Saturn V arrived around the moon. From the top of Saturn V, a smaller vehicle went down, a lunar module. Out of this lunar module, a smaller vehicle again, the moon car, came out. The same thing with extraterrestrials. Mother spaceship, smaller spaceship came down. The extraterrestrials, they behave themselves like today's ethnologists would do. They study a few tribes, they learn a few language, and one of the natives sees his teacher in such a sort of car. Now comes copy. He copied, he chiseled it in stone. The newest discovery about Nazcan, about this thing, the tomb of Palenque, the so-called Temple of Inscription, is made by 2 American professors. They both have the same name, Stewart and Stewart, because it's the father and the son. They both are the best, really known translators from Maya into German. And they have translated now the figures around this tombstone. And they came to a figure. Pakal, this young priest who's sitting there, is given down with a date of 1,200,046 years. All crazy. These gigantic datings. We have another Maya figure, Bolonyok they called, where you clearly the figure 968,000. Or we have the Sumerian king list, which today is in British Museum in London. There we have the kings before the Great Flood, 432,000 years. So all these dates are crazy, and you find them worldwide. The dates make a certain sense if you bring it in connection with extraterrestrials.
Some archaeologists have interpreted the carving as representing the king's descent into the bearded jaws of the underworld. Could it simply be a mythological representation of the king's journey to the afterlife? University professor the late Linda Scheel was a world-leading authority in Mayan iconography and epigraphy. Her study of the sarcophagus recognized the motifs surrounding Pakal as representing the features of the Milky Way. Could it be that Pakal's capsule was not on a journey to or from the underworld? It was traveling through space.
You know, in the beginning, they said Pakal is sitting in this vehicle. The vehicle is not the vehicle. The vehicle is the open mouth of a mythological monster. And Pakal falls into this mouth. That means symbolize life and death. He goes back to earth. Out of his chest comes the tree of life or the cross of life, etc., etc. These all are archaeological explanations concerning Pakal, this tomb in Palenque. In the meantime, these two professors, Stewart and Stewart, the book title is called Palenque, the Eternal City. In the meantime, they come to the conclusion, this whole scene, Pakal, everything has to do with the universe. Every detail has nothing to do with monster and tree of life and cross of life. That was yesterday's point of view. In the meantime, we see it with modern eyes. So the situation changed.